Everyone, today in this video we're going to be talking about the Columbian Exchange. So those that might be wondering, what is the Columbian Exchange? Well, the Columbian Exchange is when the Europeans traveled the Atlantic Ocean to the New World. They brought with them these three new categories to the New World, that being animals, plants, and diseases. So a little background as to why it's called the Columbian Exchange is it's named after Christopher Columbus. So Christopher Columbus was a sailor that believed that the earth was not flat but rather round. He believed that he would be able to get to Asia on a faster route, since back then Europe wanted to find an easier route to trade with Asia. Since their trade routes were pretty long distance, they wanted to find some easier, short route. So he got permission from Spain to sail with 3 ships to look to find a better, easier route. He believed that he actually landed in East Indies. However, he actually landed in Hispaniola, which is present-day Haiti and the Dominican Republic. So as shown here, this is what is in the Columbian Exchange. As you can see, comparison from the New World and the Old World, you can see that in the New World, they got stuff like tobacco, squashes, cocoa beans, peanuts, potatoes, corn, beans, peppers, avocados. Whereas in the Old World, you got stuff like coffee beans, peaches, pears, olives, grains like wheat, rice, and barley, livestock, cattle, and pigs, and as well as diseases, deadly diseases such as smallpox, measles, malaria, and whooping cough, just to name a few. So now we're going to break down the 3 things, that being animals starting off with. So these 4 animals are basically the first ones that came here to the New World, that being horses, sheep, cattle, and pigs. These 4 animals adapted to the new conditions very quickly, such as, for example, the horses and cattle adapted to and roamed the grassland areas of this new world. Later on in time, the natives would actually tame the horses and use them for hunting and fighting other tribes, as well as fighting the settlers later on. Pigs would go and kill the local plant life and eat them. This is a bad thing, since it not only gets rid of the local plant life that was once there, but also gets rid of more or less the local animals that are around, since they depend on that local food. Sheep would be used as another form of animal hide, wool, and food. Other animals that would be later be brought to would be like rats, donkeys, and mules. The rats were probably the worst, since they brought a lot of bad diseases, and they would stow away on the ships. Turkeys would be introduced also to Europe through these new exchanges. As for plants, you can see that corn, beans, potatoes, avocados, squashes, cocoa beans, and vanilla, and tobacco were some of the many new plants that were exchanged from the New World. Coffee beans, olives, sugarcane, onions, and grapes were some of the plants that were from the Old World. The native people introduced Europeans to chocolate made from cocoa beans. They used it for ceremonial practices for weddings, and one of the drinks was called Zocolata, which was a chocolate drink that the Europeans thought was a vile practice, and they despised it, since they thought drinking chocolate was not a good thing. And later on, they would obviously start drinking chocolate. And finally is the diseases, which is probably the worst part of this video. So basically, the new diseases that were spreading to the New World would be stuff like smallpox, malaria, whooping cough, measles, and influenza, which basically killed a huge population of the natives as the native population declined to 50-95% in the years to come, and it affected them bad with them not being able to protect themselves, their immune system more or less from these new diseases. But one disease that was rumored to have come from the world, that being Salafis. So the origins of this rumor of Salafis coming from the New World is that when Christopher Columbus and his crew arrived to Hispaniola, they believed that the natives had a bacteria called Treponema pallidum, which is a bacteria that causes syphilis, and that they brought it back to Europe, and that it began to spread over there in Europe. This disease wiped out thousands of people in Europe from the 15th to the 16th century. And this video basically shows what the three things that the Europeans got from the New World, and I hope you guys learned something new from this video.